Feeling alone, overwhelmed? Low-key listening is here to help. Whether you want to vent, share your thoughts, or just have someone truly listen to you, we have real people standing by, ready to listen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can download the app for free on Apple App Store or Google Play. Simply set up an account, find someone, and they will listen to what you have to say. You can actually even take voice memo notes and send them to the person. You can even text the person. Here's the best part. It is completely anonymous, not only for you, but the person listening. Because after all, don't we want somebody there willing to listen to us? Download the Low-Key app today. Talk, be heard, and feel better. Low-Key listening on your favorite app store.
They say opportunity knocks. What if it's not opportunity? What if it's something or someone else? A familiar voice from the past, a chance you've been waiting for, a mistake you thought you left behind, or maybe something far bigger than you imagined. Some doors were open without hesitation, others were cautiously peeked through, and some we wish had never answered. This season on Other People's Shoes, host Neil Matthews is asking one question. Who's there? Will you answer? Will you hesitate? Step inside season 22 of Other People's Shoes, where every knock holds a story, and every door leads to a choice. Now here's your host, Neil Matthews.
Yes, welcome in season 22. 7 years in the making to get here. A lot of episodes. I had somebody recently ask me, this is a small but silly story. I had somebody recently say to me, "You have a podcast?" I said, "Yeah, yep, still have that, still doing that." And they go, "Wow, that's been a minute, hasn't it?" And I said, "It has. It has been a minute." And they said, "What episode do you think I should go listen to first?" And I was stunned. I'm rarely speechless, but in that moment, I said, well, boy, howdy, that is a hard question to answer. I said, every episode to me opens a new chapter. It opens a new story. It opens a new frame of reference. And I said, I really don't know what to tell you. I said, there's 10 or 12 right now that are in the top of our little spindle queue thing on the top of the website, opspodcast.com. Those aren't necessarily my 10 favorite. Usually it celebrates the episodes that we celebrated this last birthday year. Maybe I'd start with those is what I told them. There's one that still kind of gets to me, and I'll tell you what it is. It's Waco. We had a guy that walked away from Waco. I don't know why. I still really like that episode. And there's one with my wife. What do you do with that? I don't know. All that to say that sometimes things come in our life that we're not really sure what to do with. That is a big, long segue to get to my friend today. Help me welcome in my new friend, Jason. Jason, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Neil. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Now, Jason, I didn't ask you this before we started recording, so this is a little pressure for you already. Where are you at in the country? Are you maybe in Nebraska any way, shape, or form?
Oh, that's so close. I'm in Washington State.
Washington State. So you're a Husky or a Cougar.
I'm in the Tri-Cities, so I'm down in South Central
Kennewick,
Washington. Yeah, Kennewick, Pasco, technically Pasco.
I used to have a customer that sold cell phone accessories in the Kennewick Mall. I never made it up there.
Okay.
He had cell phone booths in Kennewick and Pasco as well. His name was Ahmad.
I'm not sure I've met
it's
him.
Okay. It's all right. It's okay. But I remember he had some Ukrainian or some Eastern European roots to him. I remember he would always call on a Friday in a panic, and he needed like 300 to 400 cell phone cases, faceplate cases, and I would have to scramble every Friday to do that. I don't know where all that came from. That's just when I hear Kennewick, that Tri-City area, that's what it invokes. So thanks a lot, Jason, for making me think of a company.
That memory.
Making me think of a company I haven't thought about in a minute. That company was called Orca Cellular, by the way. Orca like the whale. And I would often tell that to people on the phone when I was wholesaling cell phone accessories. There was more than just two phones. I'm dating myself, like 03. Oof, that's also wow.
That's a few. Yep.
Yeah. Where were you in 2003? That's the question of the day right now.
I was underway somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, probably. I was on a submarine.
That's right.
submarines for 20 years, 10 months, 20 days. So yeah, 2003, I was underway somewhere.
That's insane. I did know that about you, that you were a Navy guy. I was going to make a Marine joke. Thanks for giving my dad the rides where he needed to go, and that he works for the men's department. You work for the women's department. Okay. All right. Sorry. That's too far. That's too far.
No, I love it.
I was born in Camp Lejeune, though, North Carolina, which is a naval base in all intents and purposes. And I drank
Beautiful
the water.
Area.
In case you're wondering, that's probably explaining a lot of maybe what you're going to experience in the next little bit.
Maybe our topic will be important for you one day then.
It could be. It truly could be. People have always asked me, they're like, well, that's what's wrong with you, Neil. You had that Camp Lejeune water. I'm like, yeah. And I also got fandom for North Carolina out of the deal. So a double win, I guess. And I'm in Oregon. So just to help, I'm also Pacific Northwest. Here we are. Jason, help me with this. I love to lead every show with truly this question. And it's silly, but it's also important in the scheme of things, in the ambiance of the show. And that's this. What size shoes might we find you in?
A 13.
Okay.
Yep, just 13 standard, not wide or nothing.
That's great.
Yeah, 13.
You know how many guys I've sat with that don't know their shoe size?
What?
Maybe they didn't want to say. So in their defense, maybe they didn't want to say. But I remember specifically, I don't remember what year or what season it was. The guy's like, well, I don't know. My wife buys my shoes and I don't really know what. I'm like, how do you not know what you wear, bud? I didn't know.
You got to go buy boots. You got to go buy shoes at some point. You have to know your shoe size.
I would absolutely agree. So I pushed on that. I said, I think you just don't want to say. He's like, well, my wife doesn't. I'm like, all right, buddy, we'll move on. All right, my favorite question, because I'm a brand snob and a brand guy, and there really is only one brand to wear. I guess I'll allow others to wear their own brand. Is there a brand or style you like more than another with those 13 size shoes?
Yeah. My go-to shoe, I do leather work on the side, and so I like full grain leather shoes. Three-eyed boat shoe by Sperry is my absolute favorite shoe.
Well, Mr. Rogers wore Sperry's.
I didn't know that.
Yes. I actually Googled that one day because I know the things I Google. Curious about this. When I started, somebody said, I seem like Mr. Rogers, putting on people's shoes and switching shoes and asking this shoe question.
Yeah.
All right, Google, what did Mr. Rogers wear? And it came back with Sperry shoes, the blue shoes that he would often put on.
Yeah.
Here's the wacky part of me is I went out and found a navy blue pair of Sperry's. They actually sit over there on the shelf. And on the base of them is navy blue, but then on the top toe part of it, the lace part of it, I know this is going to shock some, they're light blue. So they're navy and light blue. So it's like Mr. Rogers and Neil holding hands.
That's perfect.
Skipping down the road. I made that weird. I do love Mr. Rogers. He's a big inspiration to me. I have one of those Funko Pops of Mr. Rogers because I like him so much. And look, he's wearing the Sperry's. He's wearing the Sperry's in the Funko Pop.
Perfect.
Even. All that because of shoes. Help us with this. As I mentioned to you before we started recording, I was fascinated by your story. Partly because, listen, I've had friends and even youth kids in my church days that walked through cancer, that walked through the scariness of it. I myself have personally never had it. I've had a really good friend of mine, Robert, when I was younger. He was younger than me in high school, and he got cancer pretty bad. He got Hodgkin's cancer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's rough. That's brutal.
And I remember him losing his hair. They thought he would never have kids because of the way the cancer had spread. And I got a report. I mean, he still has no hair. I don't know if that's his choice or if that was still the remnants of the cancer. But I think he has 2 kids, if not 3 kids. He's happily married.
Oh, congrats.
Good
deal.
Just an amazing young man. Every time I see him, I just give him a big old bear hug. He's like 6'5", 6'6". He's a big dude. Just a gentle giant, truly. And I love Robert dearly. But Robert lost his dad to cancer.
Oh, man. Was there any genetic ties in there?
I don't know, right? I don't want to violate HIPAA, not that I'm a healthcare provider, but I don't know. But that's a great question. I don't know. To me, when I heard about your story and what you're walking through and experiencing right now, I thought, man, this guy is absolutely perfect for who's there, who's at the front door, what's at the front door kind of series.
Back door.
And that's what I was going to say. But in your case, it's like the back door, right? So tell us more about that if you wouldn't mind. So cancer isn't at your front door, it's at your back door.
Turns out how they do a biopsy is through the back door.
Yikes.
And you don't find out initially. You have long diagnostic process. You watch what's called a PSA, a prostate-specific antigen. It's a blood test. And as that number starts to climb, your doctor says, okay, let's investigate this a little further. They send you off to a urologist, and the urologist will redo the PSA. And then if it goes up, they are more concerned. It used to be that they would do the digital rectal exam with the finger in the spot. And they don't do that as much anymore. They'll do an MRI. So they'll image it, and then they'll do an ultrasound guided biopsy. So what they do is they take a wand, like an object you might find in somebody's nightstand, about that size. And it's an ultrasound wand, and it's got needles coming out the side of it, lube you up. They sit you back in a chair, and your knees are propped up, your legs are spread, and they insert it, punches through your colon into your prostate. And it takes about 23 samples, like little cores, out of your prostate. So it just punctures it. So it's like a shower head. Everything's just leaking out. They analyze those cores, and that's the only way to actually diagnose whether or not you have prostate cancer is through a biopsy. And then they'll grade it, and they'll say, okay, there's this much is the primary grade of aggressiveness we're seeing is a 3 or a 4 or a 5. And the secondary grade is a 3 or a 4 or a 5. So they'll give you 2 numbers. So mine was a 7. Mine was 4 plus 3. Aggressive. More of my tumor was aggressive than not aggressive. And so it's what they call intermediate unfavorable. It's not great. The earlier you catch prostate cancer, the more likely you are to have curative treatment. Curative treatment, if it's contained in the prostate, they can do surgery and they can remove it. You're free to go. You're done. You can also do radiation. So they can do radiation to the prostate, kill the cancer, and you're good to go. The problem and the challenge I have is if it ever breaks out of the prostate, those cancer cells get into your bloodstream, they travel throughout your body, and then they can never get rid of it. So once it has broken out and is in your bloodstream and it goes to your bones, prostate cancer loves bones for some reason, nerves and bones, then you're dealing with it for life, and there is no curative treatment. And that's where I'm at. So I found out I had stage 4. It had metastasized to my spine. I had a 3 centimeter by 2 centimeter tumor in my L1 vertebrae. I knew it had broken out because as I was going through the diagnostic process, oddly or ironically, I don't know the right word, the week before I was getting married, I was going to the doctor because of some symptoms. Everything down there went dead. I knew it was bad. I knew whatever was going on was bad at that point because everything just stopped working. In hindsight, what had happened is the cancer had broken out, attacked the nerves for all the valves that make everything function down there. That function is done and gone. And then it also got into my spine, it got into my L1, and we just kept doing more diagnostics. Let's do this scan. Let's do a bone scan. Let's do a CT scan with contrast. Let's do this PSMA PET scan. It was originally a little frustrating all along the way. This was while I was 52. 2 years ago, I was 52, and the doctors, my urologist were, hey, you're young, this isn't likely going to be prostate cancer. And then when it was, well, you're young, this isn't likely going to be bad. It's not going to be aggressive. We'll do surgery. We'll remove it. It'll be fine. And then when it was metastasized, I finally got to a radiation oncologist, Dr. Brian Lewinda, fantastic man. I directly asked, like I did everybody else, and everybody else responded with vague answers, how bad is this? And he said, oh, this is beyond bad. Your situation is not curable. He says, I can't give you a prognosis. What I would recommend is that we fight this aggressively. He says, your best chance is to go after this with multiple treatments as aggressively as we can. And so we did. Chose radiation to the prostate. I chose radiation to the spine. That wasn't the brutal part of all the treatment. The brutal part of the treatment is the hormone therapy. And the hormone therapy, it's called ADT and hormone therapy. I'm on 2 drugs, pronged approach. One attacks my pituitary gland and forces it to stop sending signals to produce testosterone. The other one, your testicles aren't the only thing that can produce testosterone. So the tumor itself learns how to produce testosterone, and so it stops the tumor from producing testosterone. And I'm on this treatment for life. To give you an idea how bad that treatment is, this is the drugs that they give pedophiles and rapists to stop things from working, to remove their desire, to get rid of the libido. And the challenge is I've got to be on this for life, and you lose interest in things. Cancer came knocking at my back door, really shut everything down. That's not great for mental health. It's not great for your motivation to do things. I was a hobby collector. I do so many things. I build rockets. I do leather work. I cook. I write. I do all kinds of things. My level of interest in doing anything just is shot. So every day is a struggle to try and prop myself up so that others don't feel bad for me. That's one of the challenges with having cancer and feeling it every day and feeling the effects of the treatment. I get people to acknowledge it. You want people to know about it, understand where you're at. But you don't want people going overboard with the empathy and pity and stuff, because that's tiring too. I have to prop myself up, kind of reduce that side of it. It's tough. And the side effects are that I will get osteoporosis. Cardiac events goes through the roof. Most people on this treatment for a long term don't necessarily die from the cancer. They die from the side effects of the treatment. And that sucks. Stop the treatment. I can get a little bit of quality of life back. Then the cancer comes back. If I stay on the treatment, I'm staying on the treatment with low quality of life. I might be able to live longer. Maybe, but we don't know. It's a little frustrating, and the brain fog. Probably hear it as I'm talking. This pause, it takes me a little longer to form some thoughts. My short-term memory is just shot. My ability to pull words that things that I'm thinking of, my memories is tough. It affected my job. So I was the initial licensed supervisor at the nuclear power plant on the Hanford Reservation. And I've done that for years out here now. We train the operators to get a license to operate the nuclear reactors. And I got asked this year, because of my cognitive issues, because of some lapses in my ability to do my job, I got asked to step down. And that was brutal. That was a real kick in the gut. Now my treatment has affected my job. Fortunately, I have found something with a better quality of life. I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot better. I took a job recently at the college, Columbia Basin College, as the assistant professor and director of nuclear technology. Bit of a course load. I'll be teaching classes every Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll have time off to myself. I'll be able to manage my time a little bit better, enjoy a little bit better quality of life.
Wow. You gave us a good snapshot of where you are.
One of the things I do to help myself is the first day of radiation treatment. Did my radiation treatment, and that's when everything really sunk in. Like, okay, I just did that. I just irradiated my body with a dose that I wouldn't be allowed to experience in a lifetime of working at the nuclear power plant. They just zapped my prostate. I'm feeling it. Just the reality of all that really hit me hard. I have a camera. I have a microphone. I do Zooms for some of the classes. I've been an adjunct professor for a little while. And I sat down and I turned on my camera and I turned on my microphone and I just started talking. And I recorded in what I call episode 1, and I started doing a podcast. The first half a dozen episodes were just me talking about my treatment, talking about my history. And then I started talking to other people. And I found that sharing all the different situations, because has so many different treatments and so many different outcomes, that talking to people in all these different situations is really helping other men out there.
I think it's amazing. And that's what I found. The little bit I saw on you, I found that.
I appreciate you watching.
I found that maybe I got you on a good day. I found you encouraging. And I heard you talking about that you were giving people hope. I think that was one of the words you used, was hope.
Hope is good.
I think, to me, I'm just shocked by this. You talk about getting married.
Yeah. The week I got married. So my wife and I haven't experienced, and she stayed with me, and we've been married a few years now.
I don't want to get too much into your personal stuff. One of the greatest things that I believe that ever was created besides marriage was sex. I'm serious. We're guys. I can say that. I wouldn't say that to a lady. You're a dude. We can talk dude to dude. But the other piece of that for me, I don't know. And so I'm asking because I don't know. Do you have kids already or no?
I have, not with her.
Right.
But with my 2 ex-wives, I do have kids.
Okay. Well, that's good at least. There's somebody there to carry on the legacy. And that's what I was envisioning when I was hearing more of your story, and not getting all of it on purpose, as we talked about. So I lead with my curiosity. That's what was my first thought was, who's going to carry on his name? Who's going to live on? Who's going to tell the stories of Jason?
Well, my oldest she's having her first child. So I'm having my first grandchild.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's a little bit of a story, though, if it's okay to share.
Sure, if that's okay with her.
Yeah. She had been talking to a guy, unbeknownst to me, for a few years through Instagram. They found out they really liked each other, and he wanted to take the relationship further and meet her because he was in Egypt.
That's scary from a dad standpoint. I'm going to put my dad hat on now. That seems a little scary, Dad.
She saw a bunch of red flags and ran at it like it was a circus. Holy smokes. I was like, there's movies made about this.
Taken, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
Taken. Liam Neeson, Taken.
I didn't find anything out until she had decided what she was going to do. And after she had met him, she was living over here in the Tri-Cities in an apartment with some friends. We're keeping in touch, and she got quiet. I'm going to reach out. That father's sixth sense went off. So I texted her, hey, how you doing? She says, I needed a mental health break. I said, what does that mean? She said, I took a trip. Oh, okay. And I'm thinking she likes Seattle. She likes Portland. She likes San Francisco. I wonder which one she went to. Where'd you go? She sent me back a picture of her in front of the pyramids. Like,
not the Las Vegas one. The one in Egypt.
Nope. We had to talk. I was like, I need some context here. I need some information. She says, you're not going to like anything I'm going to say. So I just need you to just be quiet and listen. Okay. So I did. I still gave her my opinion at the end of all that. She had decided that this guy wanted to pursue a relationship, and she flew to Egypt on her own without talking to me or her mom. And met him.
Beto, red flag.
Yep. And she liked him. And she said she just decided to marry him. Yeah. She packed up, moved to Egypt. A couple months later, went over there for her wedding. And it was a big wedding. His dad paid for everything, which was awesome. And it was a big wedding on the Nile.
I'm sure they got a little bit of money in Egypt. Just saying.
Yeah. It was amazing. I got to meet the family. I fell in love with all of them. It's weird when people look at list of Facebook friends. It's like, how come you, like, a fourth of your Facebook friends are all Arabic? And then, I can't read all this. And I was like, yeah.
Well, those are my in-laws. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. So in Egypt, they don't have a traditional last name like we do. They don't do first and last names. They do a first name, and then the name of the dad, and then the name of the grandpa, and then the name of the great-grandpa. So my grandson's name is going to be Faris, and his full name will be Faris Ahmed Mohammed Yassin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did she convert to Muslim?
She did. You have to in order to get married over there. It's not an option.
Yeah, I was just going to say, she probably had to. Was clarifying that. Good for her. Congratulations, daughter. I don't know what I would do in that moment either. I don't know if I'd handle it that well. You did great.
Turns out he's a really nice kid, and I really like.
There's nobody ever going to be good enough for our daughters.
No,
you probably feel the same.
True.
Nothing against your guy in Egypt, but what do you want people to remember most about you? Because as you said already, cancer may not take you. It's the side effects, it's the treatment, it's all the other stuff that comes with it from the sound of it.
I want to help men realize that, hey, I need to get my PSA checked. I need to go get a blood test. I need to start getting my blood tested when I'm 40, 45 years old every year and trend that number. I want men to remember, I remember I got this added. And now that I've been doing this every year since I was 48. And now that I'm 54, my PSA started going up. And it's because of this guy I watched or listened to, Jason Stone. He told me I had to do this. And this is going to save my life. I'm going to be in curative treatment space instead of finding out long after the cancer's broken out, long after you're stage 4. I just want men to realize that this is easy to prevent. This is not necessarily prevent. All men, if they live long enough, will get prostate cancer. Most men that die in their 70s, 80s, 90s die with prostate cancer, not of it. So it happens eventually. And in fact, we all experience it as we go along, but our body has cleanup systems that clean up any of these malignant cells that go bad. So they just don't get a chance to take hold as a tumor and grow. Eventually they do. I just want to help men catch it early.
I'll be 46 this year.
Do it. I want to know what your PSA is.
And I hate getting a blood draw. Hate it. I hate needles. This is why I never did heroin. I mean, there's also lots of reasons why. But that's one of them. That's one of them. I don't like needles. It's probably why I didn't do meth. I don't know. Do you do meth with a needle? I don't even know.
I have no idea.
I don't know either. Yeah, don't do meth, not even once. That's the thing is, to me, when I hear about things like that, I think, oh, I have time. Did you ever have that type of mindset? Did you ever think those things like, oh, I got time. I don't have to worry about it now.
I was planning on what I was doing at work. I was planning on promotions. I was planning on run this class and then the next class, and I'm going to do this and this and this. And I just don't need to worry about medical getting sick and stuff until I'm in retirement. So what happens, people retire from work. They no longer have that activity every day. They slow down and their body catches up to them and they get sick. And then we spend our retirement years going to doctors and going to medical appointments. And so I figured that's what was going to happen. I didn't expect it to start happening when I was 52. There's a good chance I'm not ever going to retire. The prognosis of this, maybe I have another 7 years, maybe I have another 11 years, maybe not. Maybe I have 20 years. I don't know. It's just an unknown. And so that changes everything. And it's really cruddy, really sucks, is even my situation didn't have to be this bad. So I went to a doctor in 2017. He, for whatever reason, added a PSA test, but didn't talk to me about it. And my PSA came back slightly elevated. So he had sent me off for a scan, didn't talk to me about why. There was no discussion. Blood test was drawn, and then the results came back, and then I did the scan, and the results came back negative. And all he said was, yeah, there was this little bump on your PSA, but I'm not worried about it. Is there anything else I need to do? No, nothing else. Conversation should have been is get a PSA test every year. Get one every year and trend that number. What I would have found out was that number was slowly going up and my cancer was slowly growing year after year after year after year until the tumors grew big enough that it escaped, metastasized to my spine and attacked my nerves. And I could have caught this in like 2018, 2019, 2020. I could have got this earlier, done surgery or radiation and been done with it and not be on this brutal treatment.
I think that's the thing of life for me. The procrastination is the king.
Yeah.
I always think, well, I can do that tomorrow. I can do that next week. I can, you know what? Next month is good. Maybe even a couple of months from now.
Well, that's because we're operating behind closed doors. View is limited to what's in the room around us. And that door's closed. And we don't know, a nod to your podcast season, we don't know what's on the other side of that door. And it could be cancer. For any of us, it could be a car accident. It could be whatever. We don't know. So what if we look around in our space, our room, what is the most important thing to us? What is the most important thing we could be doing that if something knocks on that door that we don't want, we will be fulfilled, that we will say, okay, this was okay because I was ready, because I did this. I'm doing the podcast advocacy and community and trying to share this information.
It's interesting that the name of it to me is PSA.
Public service announcement.
Thank you. I was like, please tell me I'm not the only one that's thinking that. I've said it a couple of times and I kept thinking, he's talking about, he's not talking about public service announcement. That's not what he's talking about.
This whole thing is a PSA for the PSA.
I like silliness. Sometimes I need some silliness to break the tension, which I'm terrible at. I need to work better at that. Sometimes I need to giggle a little bit with like a little bit of humor because it makes me not have to deal with the uncomfortable tension of the room. I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, this really is a PSA to get people aware that cancer is real.
Yep.
And cancer really can come to kill you.
Yep. A lot of people are dealing with cancer in their families right now. I've got an aunt that's going through skin cancer. I have an aunt that just had a kidney taken out because of a tumor. I've got a cousin that has lung cancer going through immunotherapy. My brother has a tumor in his brain on his pituitary gland. He's getting surgery for that September 3rd. It's out there. It's out there and we don't know when it will happen. It grows inside of us. It's not something that you can prevent. Now you can limit it. You can statistically reduce your risk. Eat a healthy diet. Eat whole foods. Make sure you're getting exercise. Exercise is known to reduce your risk of a lot of things, including cancer, because it keeps your cells rebuilding. Your body keeps getting the signal, hey, we're healthy, we're working, we need to stay in this condition. When we slow down, when we sit a lot, kind of just not doing anything. Our bodies biologically just kind of give up a little bit, and then things take over.
What has this process taught you about yourself?
Ooh. So I am not as strong as I thought I was. I went into this, I want to defeat this attitude. When I realized that it was not something I could just defeat and that I would be living with this for a long time, I was like, okay, how do I reduce how long I'm on this treatment? I want a second opinion. I went to Seattle. I went to the Fred Hutch Cancer Center. I got a second opinion. They said, yeah, you can stop the treatment if you want. Here's the risk. Here's what's going to happen. And I was not able to handle all of that as well as I thought I could. I thought, even in the moment, I thought I was handling it pretty well. I look back and I realize, oh, I was in shock. Oh, wow. I was completely not aware of my depression. I was in denial about how badly this affected me. Last year, I went and I said, my doctor is like, I wasn't very explicit. I just said, I'm not having some good thoughts. She says, I'm not having good thoughts. What does that mean? The fact that I'm even just saying to you that I don't have good thoughts is probably the last chance you'll have to hear that I'm not having good thoughts, if that makes sense. And she's like, I'm going to get you some help. So I talked to a therapist for a few months, went on an antidepressant for a little while, and that helped. The problem with the antidepressant, I thought when I was on an antidepressant, I would be all like loopy and happy and uplifted, and I would feel good about everything. And that is not what happens. It just mutes everything. While it prevents you from having those lows as bad as they were, it also prevents the highs. It just flatlines you. I made a decision in December. I said, yeah, I'm done with this. I can't do this.
Are you a guy of faith?
I am. And that was something that has renewed with this. When I got diagnosed, I had one completely overwhelming feeling, and that was I needed to go get a blessing. I needed to reach out to the church. I needed to do something spiritual. I realized at the time, I have two minds. I can look at this from the outside and say, yeah, this stuff happens and you're just reading into it. Oh, what's that Eagles song that you can read all kinds of weird stuff into, the Hotel California?
Yeah, that's a good song.
It is.
Long song, but it's a good song, yeah.
And then you talk to them and they're like, these people are crazy. This is not what this means. I started reading into some things in my life. For example, back in the 90s, mid-90s, I was on my first submarine still. We were in the shipyard and there was a guy there on the other crew. We combined crews and we're working, and he's in a different division, but I knew him and I knew of him. He had a little girl, just a couple years old at the time I was having my first kid. And so there wasn't a lot of bonding. We weren't friends. We didn't keep in touch, not that kind, but we knew of each other back then. Fast forward to me retiring from the Navy and living out here in Washington and going out to Energy Northwest. Hey, there's that guy. I was on the boat with him and we talked a little bit. He started working at the college. I was like, oh, I'm working at the college too. And then he retired from the plant and was working at the college full time. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'd like to help you. And I was working with him and this and that. And our deal was we were going to, or breakfasts, or coffee really. So in between breakfast and lunch, we were going to coffee on Fridays. And I would pick a coffee place. I'm a big coffee drinker. And we'd go to this and he'd order hot chocolate. And we'd go to a coffee place and he'd we'd go to a coffee place, he'd order hot chocolate or just something. I finally looked at him and said, are you LDS? He's like, yeah. Why do you let me pick coffee places?
That's a tough one. As I mentioned, a little bit of my cancer background, which again is very limited, just other people, never myself. Robert comes to my mind. There's another young boy. His name's Austin. And it's the first time I had ever gone to a quote unquote church healing. We did an anointing for Austin.
Oh, wow.
We prayed over him. In 6 months, he had no cancer.
Wow.
I remember I was young. I was in my 20s, maybe even mid-20s. And I loved Austin. I took him to Reno with me to watch my first North Carolina basketball game. I'll never forget that moment, right? It was my first basketball game. And what mom on earth lets a 16-year-old kid travel with a 20-something-year-old newly married dude to Reno, of all places? What was Carolyn thinking? I still wonder myself. But I'll never forget
awesome.
that trip because Austin went with me. Again, it was the first time I ever saw North Carolina live in person. You know, it was an amazing memory of just him and I driving together. There was snow and we stopped on the side of the road and had a snowball fight. Glad he was around to go to that game with me.
Yeah. There's no coincidences. Those things happen.
I think about you and your life and again, like I asked you about the legacy, you do podcasting long enough and you have people come on. I was told earlier this year that there was a guest that we had on a number of years back that died unexpectedly.
Oh, man.
You know, again, I'm not like trying to be all Debbie Downer per se. I've sat with people that have died.
Yeah.
Not as a result of being on my show. So, I mean, I don't want that to be a disclaimer. It's just surreal for me to think about. I've sat with people that are no longer here. I could go back and hear their voice again if I need to. The thing that I come back to, even with you, Jason, is the fact that your last name being Stone, this idea of being a rock, this idea of being immovable, this idea of being this force. There are days that you probably don't feel like being the gigantic stone. Maybe you feel like being the pebble stone. I don't know, but I just think there's so much courage and vulnerability to come out and say, like, listen, I'm not going to be at my best. There are days that I don't feel like being my best. And to be that transparent and vulnerable to say, listen, there was a point in time and maybe there still is from time to time if I let the voices speak louder than they need to be, that I wanted to take my life.
Yep.
And listen, I know we just met and maybe this is weird per se, but I'm glad you didn't because I think there's still so much more you can give as long as you can give it.
Yeah, I hope so. I want that to be true. So I'm going to keep trying. And, you know, as far as being vulnerable, being willing to talk about those things, one thing that changed as far as me and the being a man and the culture and the stigmas we grew up with that are reinforced in us. Once you're laying back in that chair, you're holding your knees up to your chest and they got that tool and they're sticking that up the back door, all dignity, all pride is forever gone. That was you don't walk out of that with the kind of, I'm never going to talk about this again pride. Like you're like, I want to prevent this from ever happening to anybody else.
I hear people say that. And again, I'm not dismissing by any means what you said just now. I think it's super important. And I think most guys could use a little bit of a pride killer. Just saying.
Yeah.
They could use a little bit of a humility check. They could.
Yeah.
I could. I'll just put myself on the table. I could. But I hear from time to time somebody who's been an addict. Now, again, I know you're not an addict. But they're like, I'm never going to do that again. Promise I'm never going to hurt that person again. I'm never, never. And insert whatever that never is.
Yeah.
And then they find themselves right back where they were again.
Yep. I battled alcoholism. I was a sailor. I lived like a sailor. I was not a good person for a lot of my Navy life and battled heavy alcoholism. I still battle this.
Well, I think it's just the idea of being an addict, right? And recognizing that you're never going to do it again. You make that promise and you think, oh, I'm never going to do it again. And then you find yourself right back where you were before. Yeah. I wonder about that even in my own life. Now, again, you can take this how you take this, but I wonder about that in my own life. Like when I've made mistakes in my faith, I would call them sins. When I've sinned against God, I've sinned against my wife maybe, or I've sinned against my family, or I've sinned against another person. And I know God doesn't operate this way, but sometimes it feels like there's a punishment.
There's karma.
There's something. I don't know if it's karma or what, but I don't know. But it seems like when I've done something bad, there's still a bill that needs to be paid.
Yeah.
There's an open invoice that somebody's coming to collect. Visa, whoever, I don't know. Have you ever had those type of thoughts? Oh, if I had only maybe been nicer when I was in the Navy. Oh, if I had never, to your point, if I had never been, I don't want to call you a drunk, but from what you're describing, maybe. But if I had never done these bad things that I did, maybe cancer would have skipped over me.
I don't necessarily think about that in the context of cancer. I think the malignancy of the cells is a result of our health, our status, how well our body's able to rebuild. What you're saying is absolutely true with other aspects of our lives. If I wasn't an alcoholic and a drunk, I wouldn't have 2 ex-wives. Those kinds of things still play a role. I guess there is a tie there because, okay, so if I wasn't drunk and alcoholic and I didn't battle these demons, I would have led a better life. I would have stayed married. I would have enjoyed a little more peace of mind in my life and not caused bad situations. If your mental state is healthy, your body tends to want to be healthy. Maybe I wouldn't have cancer. Yeah, I guess that's a possibility.
Again, I'm speculating. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what the answer is. My wife and I lost a child before we had my daughter. And there were years. There were years I beat myself up over it. In high school, I wasn't the upstanding Christian I was portraying myself to be. I was a poser, a hypocrite even. I'd say one thing and I was doing other things. And I just thought in my heart of hearts that that's God's punishment on me. That if I hadn't have done the sinful, bad, stupid stuff that there isn't a person alive that wasn't a teenager that did dumb stuff.
Right.
You know? And again, I didn't kill anybody. I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't beat up children. I might have put a kitten in a freezer once. I wasn't mean to animals, per se. I just wonder sometimes, the things that I do, is that the vengeful God? And I have had people push on that. They're like, that's not the God. That's not who he is. He's not vengeful. Really? Because the Old Testament says otherwise. That he really...
the Old Testament.
The Old Testament, God
that was a different person there.
Yeah. Almost like he has split personality. New Testament, he's super nice and chill. And the Old Testament, he was like, no, I'm killing you. I'm coming after you and your babies too. I love God. I mean it. I love God. If somebody right now, again, this PSA, which I love, I really love on multiple levels. This PSA right now, if somebody is on the fence, if they're not sure, again, some women may listen to us talk right now, and they might have a boyfriend, a husband, a brother, a cousin, a whoever, a male figure in their life. Maybe it's even their dad. Who knows? What would be your, again, public service announcement, not necessarily the PSA test, but that is involving that. What would be your moment to maybe say to them about what they should encourage their man to do?
Get the blood test. It's a simple blood test. Men will shy away from talking about their prostate because they don't want the finger in the bum. It's not that. It's a blood test. You should be getting it every year, 45 on. There's two groups of people that are more affected than others, and that's veterans and Black people. If you are a veteran or if you are of color, then you need to get checked as young as 40, and you get that checked every year. It's just a blood test. Add it to your regular. And September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. So make a calendar thing that says, hey, PSA checked in September. Breast Cancer Awareness Month it's advertised and you see those things, but you don't ever see anything for Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Most people couldn't even tell you what color Prostate Cancer Awareness ribbon is.
What color is it?
Light blue. I am looking at your room.
Are you kidding me?
Decorated your entire room for prostate cancer awareness.
I am all about prostate cancer awareness. Everything I own is light blue.
Yep.
Everything I own. Everything.
That's the color. Yeah. Wear light blue in September and get your PSA check.
Well, Jason, how can people hear your story and your journey? I know you said that's kind of how you started your show. That's kind of how you've maybe continued your show, is to give updates and progress reports, and you have other stuff as well. Where's the best place somebody can kind of hear the genesis moment, in other words, the start of it, and then where you are now, and kind of catch up with you and follow you during this process if they're interested in doing that?
Yeah, I'd love that. I'm on YouTube is my primary platform, so it's Prostate Cancer, The Road to Recovery. I also, when I do an episode, I also record it or export it as an audio-only file, and I put it on Spotify. So it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on iHeartRadio, it's on all the regular podcast platforms. So you can listen, if you're a listener, you can listen to it on any of those. Still Prostate Cancer, The Road to Recovery. And if it's on YouTube, leave a comment. I'd love to talk to you.
We may never talk again.
Well, we are, because I'm going to find out what your PSA is. I'm going to be following up with you.
I wonder about this for you, the lasting legacy. We already kind of talked about that a little bit. But if you right now, if your family may hear this one day, what would you want them to know about you?
I wasn't always the person I wanted to be, but I tried. I think I saw a little bit late who I needed to be and who I could be, and I'm trying. And I'm sorry. That's what I want them to know.
I appreciate that, man. The joy of the internet. It could live on forever. It could outlive you and I both. Good. I don't know you from Adam. I mean, I think it's great you're in the Pacific Northwest. If you ever come to Southern Oregon, let me know. I'll take you to coffee, all right? I don't care. We'll do it.
I got a friend down in Coos Bay.
There you go. I go to Coos Bay a lot. Yeah, I go to Coos Bay a lot. My grandmother used to live in Coos Bay, Empire specifically.
Oh, right on.
I do. I get over to Coos Bay every now and then. It's a nice little fishing community. Steve Prefontaine came from there, by the way. I don't know.
Oh, right on.
My point that I was trying to get to before I got distracted, I just think it's amazing to talk legacy, to think long term, to think beyond yourself, to think beyond this moment even, to again have that ripple effect of you never know. And to me, to have some words that maybe somebody later could go back and hear, and they're like, well, Dad was on this guy's show, crazy guy, let's ignore him, but let's hear what Dad had to say. That's what I really wanted. And so just to give your family perhaps a gift that maybe they could go back and hear your voice and really hear your heart. And so I wanted to offer that to you. And you didn't know that. And nor did I tell you that because I just made it up.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks again for coming on today. I'm going to play our game with you because I feel like we need some excitement because that was heavy. And again, that's what I do. I need the attention breaker. So here we are. Zach is going to tell us more about the fastest growing game in the podcast community. Zach, take it away.
It's now that time in the show to play the fastest growing game in the podcast world. We call it Heel Hustle. Today, our guest will try to answer all 6 of these questions in 60 seconds or less to win a prize from our prize closet. Audience, feel free to play at home. Let's put 60 seconds on that clock. Ready, set, hustle!
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
All right, Jason, here you go. Ready? Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Oh, that would have been, I forget her name now. It was Buck Rogers, not Buck Rogers, but the woman on Buck Rogers.
Erin Gray. I'll help you out. Erin Gray.
Erin Gray, yes. Thank you.
Great choice. What is your secret talent?
I am a pretty good cook.
Okay. One person you would trade places with for a year.
For a year, I would trade places with... Oh, dang, that's a tough one.
No, hard.
I'd want to trade places with Shane Black. He's a screenwriter.
Okay.
Which is what I got my master's degree in.
Nice.
And I've always wanted to actually write movies.
Weirdest job you've ever had?
Weirdest job? I haven't had very many. I did a paper route. I worked at a toy store that had a magic shop, which is where I learned how to do magic.
Nice. Always wanted to be a magician. What is the biggest risk you've ever taken?
Joining the Navy at 17, not knowing what I was doing. Wanted to join the Air Force, and I walked down there, and their office was closed, and this guy in a white uniform with a big smile, making me Sumner the Third, I'll never forget that guy's name, said, "How can I help you?" And I said, "I want to join the Air Force." He says, "Why?" I said, "I want to be around planes." He said, "Well, then you want to join the Navy." And I believed him, and I joined the Navy and ended up on submarines.
My dad has a similar story about how he joined the Marine Corps. That's hilarious. The guy was at lunch also. So those darn recruiters, stop going to lunch. Who needs a hug from you today and why?
My wife. Diagnosis affects her at least as much as it affects me.
All right, I'm going to challenge you. Go hug her today then. You said it. I didn't. All right.
I will. All right.
Jason, thank you so much again for being here today. We really appreciate you. I'd love to just stay in touch with you just on your treatment and all things that come about with that. No pressure on that. Just a guy down here cheering you on.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You have a bad day. Maybe it's nice to say, hey, I need 5 minutes. Send a text or send an email. Hey, I need 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes. I just need to vent for a minute, or I need 8 minutes. I just need somebody to vent to that's not in my circle, that's a little bit far removed. So I want to offer that to you. Truly.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, guys and gals, kids and campers alike, guess what? That is it. That is all. That is, yes, in fact, our show today. Am I a monster? I know that's a weird way to lead off with. I don't know. I wasn't trying to be mean. I was trying to be nice. Let me make my PSA, public service announcement. I can't even imagine knowing that one day my breath is gone, knowing that one day I could wake up and be gone. I mean, we all know that on some level. I just feel like when we hear that cancer word, it changes the dynamic. It changes the conversation. Here's my public service announcement. I'm going to echo what Jason said. I don't want to get tested. Do you want to get tested? Nobody wants to get tested. Nobody wants to talk about it. So can you help me help you keep this conversation going? If you're a guy right now and you're listening, all right, let's do it together. You call me, I'll call you. We're going to get tested, right? If you're a lady right now, can I just encourage you to encourage your man? You can make him do all kinds of stuff. Make him unload the dishwasher. You can make him mow the lawn. You can make him do all kinds of stuff. Make him do this. This is important. This is life-changing. Let me know if you can do that this week. Be a life changer. How crazy would that be? Be amazing. Let me know. OPSpodcast.com is a great place to let me know if you want to do that life-changing thing. Public service announcement over. Let me know. I would love to know more about this if you're willing to do it as well. Let me know. OPSpodcast.com, as I said, amazing place to let me know. You can also let us know on the socials at OPS Podcast Show under Facebook, Instagram, and X. And don't forget this, so important when we go. Don't forget. Remember, when you walk in other people's shoes, you really do, in fact, get a different perspective on life. Thank you so much for listening. I want to invite you back next week because guess what? We're going to walk in other people's shoes.